have you had 2 judgments placed against you in courts by various artists that have worked with you with your, I guess your company was called Tight Lip Entertainment?
Tight Lip Entertainment.
Okay.
Tight Lip Entertainment is still a viable company. It's still...
Where did you get the name Tight Lip from? Because that's interesting. Because you went from Tight Lip to All Aces. So I was kind of like trying to figure out the transition there.
Well, originally, in setting something up where, you know, when you create characters and you create your own universe, the last thing you need is to put it out there publicly before it's ready, so that, and all publishers do this, small, big, you know, whatever. If you're smart, you know, you cover your bases that way. And it just occurred to me that, you know, Tight Lip sounded like...
It sounded fun.
Okay.
Sounded like something to, you know, something a little different.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know? Now, as far as All Aces is something entirely different. All Aces is going to publish a few comic books, but we've got other things going on.
Sweet.
That have nothing to do with comic books.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, does that mean that I'm not going to be run up and down the flagpole to see who's going to salute my ass? You know, when it comes right down to this, no. It comes down to the notoriety of my name and the negative connotations that are placed against me.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, and you know, if I didn't realize that I might have been exposed to some of this, obviously I wouldn't be here. You know. I mean,
well, I mean, you know, you know, like I say, I don't want to make you feel like you're, you know, having to defend. But you know, like you said, you did ask. You sent me that message saying, "Ask the tough questions."
Ask the tough questions.
And I'm basically looking at the stuff that people are sending me, saying, you know, this is what you should ask.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that at all.
Now, what about these 2 judgments? Where did they come from?
Well, if you're going to ask me specifically, I can't comment. Okay. Who specifically? All right.
Well, I mean,
you can find a lot of that on the internet. I imagine.
In fact, I have.
Oh, okay.
Let me see here. We've got Scott Reed for the amount of, what's he got here? $2,400.
Right.
And then we've got, I think his name was Jim Turnus.
Turnus, yeah.
Turnus. Jim Turnus for the amount of, what did he say? $1,120.56. Now, what they're basically saying is that these were legitimate judgments done in a court of law.
Yeah, small claims court.
Okay.
Small claims court judgments.
Okay. Do you want to talk at all about those? I mean, where did they come from?
Here I am. Here I am.
Okay.
You know, I'm saying, here I am.
All right.
Meaning that, first off, it's not against the law to have judgments placed against you.
Okay.
True.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, it's up to them, those persons that place those judgments, to do whatever they have to do to
collect on them.
To collect on them.
Well, I'm not even talking about collecting on them. I'm talking about the fact that, you know, they were made by people that, according to their information, was...
This all goes back a little deeper, though. It goes back to the point where the work that these people did, okay, for the most part, except for Turnus, the work that they did was tied into the Tales of the Spooky book, which was handled by other people in regards to lining up talent. And I commented on some of this on the blog column in regards to Chuck Dixon and Dave Lamphere and you know, some of these other people that have been in the business on that end of it a lot longer than I have, obviously. Okay. And you know, that's where the faith and the trust comes in, and you figure you're dealing with professionals, okay? And I wasn't necessarily treated perhaps as professionally as I should have been.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, because all, you know, from a legal standpoint, it seems to me like what they did is they walked into a court of law and said, "This is the reason why he owes us money.
Yeah,
here's our proof."
I could do the same thing.
Okay.
I mean, I could do the same thing in regards to them breaking their confidentiality agreements that they signed.
So I don't know all of the situation, but what was involved in the confidentiality agreement? What's a typical confidentiality agreement? Because
like a non-disclosure agreement.
Non-disclosure agreement. Okay.
In other words, you don't talk about anything until it's released from the company to tell them that it's okay to, you know, publicize what kind of projects you're working on and who you're working with and so forth and so on.
But
Okay.
it seems like the only thing they disclosed was that they weren't getting paid.
Well, and there's a reason why they didn't get paid.
Okay.
And it's something that I touched upon in that column, in talking about that. Because when it comes down to those stories were done, and I think, if I recall, Chuck Dixon did 3 or 4 of those stories.
Okay.
And he put together his own story team, as far as the people that were working with him to create these stories.
So you basically subcontracted, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now I don't know what kind of agreement he had with them, but I know what his agreement with me through Dave Lamphere was, and he didn't live up to his agreement.
Okay.
If I were to pay one person, then why wouldn't I pay all the people? Because without just paying one person isn't going to get me the stories. But of course, then when you've got those people that have said, "Well, I'm not working with him anymore," okay, you didn't fulfill your contract, you broke your confidentiality agreement. Why do I even want your story if you're not going to follow through and be a professional? Do what you're supposed to do.
And when you told the judges that, what did they say?
Well, I didn't necessarily tell the judges anything because there wasn't any judges involved, at least not from my perspective.
Well, no, I mean when they went to court to get the judgments against you.
They took you in. They take you into a small claims court. Case in point, Scott Reed hired a flatter. A guy to flat the storylines. I don't know a lot of the technical stuff. I don't even know what a flatter is. Okay?
Yeah, I was going to say I've never heard that term before either.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have. I didn't know nothing about that till after the fact, and yet we're getting told that this is a person that needs to be paid. Okay. Put him on the list. Okay. He's worked on that story with this artist. Put him on the list. Well, the other thing was that Scott took me into small claims court in Florida.
Okay.
Small claims court. You ever been to? I've been
in small claims court once or twice. Yeah.
Right.
Both as somebody who files and somebody who's
as
defending.
if my car got hit a couple times where I had to take the other party to small claims court, and then my dad, who had a business for well over 50 years, had small court situations where, being a one-man business, he couldn't shut down his business and lose that day's income to go represent himself, so I would take and handle those matters for him.
Okay.
I'm not entirely naive to the whole situation, but I'm not about to get on a plane and fly to Florida to appear in a small claims court for monies, and then, obviously, what am I to show the judge?
Well, like you say, if they violated your non-disclosure agreement,
all I can do is tell the judge that, because I don't have any proof that they actually fulfilled what they were supposed to do. So now you get.
Well, here and maybe I'm confused, because this is the part that's throwing me off. Is they went to small claims court to say you didn't pay them for work they provided you.
They didn't provide me with nothing.
So my way of thinking is show the work they provided you, and then they throw it out of court.
I got a number of thumbnails of art.
Okay.
Sent to me in various stages. Okay.
Okay.
That was Dave Lamphere's. That was his spot, his position in the company.
Okay.
Was to do that. He was the gatherer of that work.
He was the guy who approved that work with those people.
Although obviously the whole thing rests on me. Mm-hmm. But again, that's why there's contracts involved. Okay.
Okay.
And any lawyer will tell you the last thing you should be doing is probably sitting here talking and answering these kinds of questions. But here's the thing. These people have already said they're not going to work. They're not interested in working with me.
Okay.
So whether I pay this one, this inker, or I pay this writer or this artist, I'm still not going to get access to the material. Okay?
Okay.
So it would be up to the people that were in charge of those stories to then turn. Now, if they all turn around and they rose up and they said, "Yeah, pay us. Yeah, here's a signed document stating that we'll finish our work. You can have the story. We just want to get paid."
Okay.
Okay, fine. I'm not paying money out to anybody that isn't going to finish out their contract.
True.
And in some cases, some of those contracts were already violated. Now, the only difference here is I'm not Marvel or DC or any of these other bigger publishers that are going to turn around and run these guys, into a court situation.
Okay.
So you're just basically letting it go, and whatever falls.
Well, I'm waiting to see what's gonna take place.
Okay.
I'm just one person.
I understand that.